As a firefighter in the Baltimore area, Jon Hickey risked his life to help others, only to lose his life at the hands of a killer with a gun.
He was robbed of his life. All of us would go into a fire, willing, but you know, you're still fighting that fire, but he had no chance to fight this guy. And it's just not fair. It's just not fair.
Jon's loved ones still struggling to make sense of it all.
It still doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
I mean, it still doesn't. You know, it's like right now, you're waiting for the bell to go off and hear him come running down the steps, beating everybody, and you're on the truck, and it's just work as usual. But knowing that's not going to happen, it takes a small piece of you.
So who shot the beloved 31-year-old dead in his apartment? As it turns out, detectives had an eyewitness, a surveillance camera behind Jon's building. And after reviewing video from that night, police announced the arrest of this man, a former firefighter from another town.
Did you know this fellow?
Not at all.
But Jon's girlfriend did. It was the man from whom she'd broken up just 2 months before, her ex-boyfriend, Daniel Green.
Did you see this coming? No indication whatsoever.
None.
Jen says Jon had never even met his accused killer, and that she thought Daniel was out of her life for good, especially since, as hard as it is for her to admit, Daniel Green was a married man.
How does something like this happen, Jen?
I keep asking myself that over and over. I don't understand.
After his arrest, Daniel Green is charged with first-degree murder, with authorities claiming he was, quote, positively identified through the video surveillance and the only individual that is observed going into Jon's apartment. So far, police have said only that the motive was, quote, domestic-related. The implication being that Jon got caught up in a lethal love triangle with his girlfriend's ex, one he didn't even know existed.
If you listen to the prosecutors, this was a crime of rage, perhaps jealousy.
Unfortunately,
Who does this? Who shoots a guy in the head just because they're jealous?
We wouldn't know.
I just think this guy was a coward.
We don't have that
And
mentality.
look at what Jon had. This guy no longer has that. Jon's a firefighter. This guy isn't anymore. The guy had the life he wished he had.
Crime Watch Daily has reached out to Green's attorney, who declined to be interviewed at this time. But he did give us a statement, which reads in part, Daniel Green has maintained his innocence since his arrest. Mr. Green was advised that he was on a video that connected him to the alleged incident, but police have refused to let him see it. Since his arrest and indictment, the state's attorney's office has not provided his counsel with any evidence that would connect Mr. Green to the incident in question. In addition to that statement, Green's attorney says that Daniel has a rock-solid alibi for that night. He was at home nearly an hour away, in bed with his wife.
Do you think justice will be served in this case?
He's in central booking, so hopefully.
Exactly what justice for Jon will look like remains to be seen. But the pain left by the crime for which Daniel Green stands accused is undeniable. We were there on the day Jon's loved ones laid him to rest, a somber occasion made all the more difficult because of how this firefighter lost his life.
We can deal with, as terrible as it is, a line-of-duty death, but from somebody to be robbed from us for no reason at all is one of the hardest things to deal with.
It's really hard because he was my only baby. And now I have nobody. I'm not going to be a grandmother now. I'm not going to get to see any of his little kids following his steps. He was just a lovely kid.
Real good guy, and he will be missed. He will be missed.
Yes.
We'll, of course, follow this story as it progresses through the courts and bring you the very latest here on the show and at CrimeWatchDaily.com. I'm Chris Hansen. If you like this story, make sure you tune in every day to Crime Watch Daily. You can find where the show airs in your city at CrimeWatchDaily.com. Watch it live or record it on your DVR and watch it at night. And to all those criminals out there, remember, we are watching.